Okay, got everything going. Let's get going. Yeah, so sorry for not being around on Wednesday. It's been a crazy week, and I haven't been getting much sleep, so didn't really have the inclination to do any streaming, but now I'm back. I changed up the lighting a little bit just to see if that helps things at all. I don't know. Still debating exactly how I want to set the lighting on this. It's very hard to light yourself, plus all the modular stuff in a way that doesn't have glare, especially when you've got these shiny metal bits on it. But oh well. Anyway, hopefully it's good enough. So I thought I would start making another song, and this one I want to do more focused from the perspective of playing it live. So I want to make something that's longer that I can morph between sort of different sounds or songs or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and I had some ideas from some sounds that I've heard on a few other bands that are actually guitar bands, but I wanted to see whether I could reproduce to some degree some of the sounds that they were getting. And I also want to give a shot with Milky Way on an aux out, because I heard an interesting thing the other day to do, which is to send a mono out from the aux, because you only have a mono out, into a stereo effect and come back in the stereo effect into the mix in on the performance mixer, so you don't lose a channel, which is kind of cool. So we may be trying that today too. But let's just start out with a nice sample, because that is always fun. So I think that I'm going to need a new folder. Let's do a new one. What is it? Oh yeah, it's February, isn't it? That's crazy. January seems like it was just yesterday. It was. Okay. Okay, load up that folder. Then I think I want to import some samples from somewhere else. So this On the Glacier one was cool. Let's make sure we patch it up so I can actually hear what's going on. Longer. I think this is also harsh sounding. Sort of seems like a toilet. Not going to use that. Try to use this in places I don't think I quite want to use. The steps, they're a little too repetitive. I did like some of these stream ones. Try this one. So we really want that to be one shot looping. Make sure it loops okay first. Yeah, loops just fine. Okay. I wonder if we want to modulate start position. I don't know if that will just break the loop, but let's just see. Just to make it a little less repetitive, a little more interesting. Are you modulating? some random values more quickly here. So maybe we need to turn down the attenuator a bit. Actually, you know, I bet you that's not going to work because it's actually the what you need is to modulate the loop start because we're looping every time. So yeah, it isn't going to do anything. All right, we'll leave it as is for now. I just wanted something in the background that was at least somewhat interesting. And this counts. Okay. Now the sound I wanted to make, I'm going to try it through the CSL. Or CSL through the Squawk Dirty and see if we can get something sounding good here. So let's just start with a really basic sign. Actually, no. Let's start with the wavefold because we're not going to do a basic sign. And just come out into here for now. Actually, we're going to have to go through VCI. We'll use this one for now. Tighten down, apparently. I will set up the MIDI control again, if and when people start showing up and are interested in it. Okay, so through VCA. Out to filter, and we'll use stages. Let's make a 3-part envelope. Sorry, so you can see what I'm doing. 3-part envelope on stages. This will come out of here. And for now, we will see if I can do it for short cable. We'll gate it with the vector sequencer. We'll also pitch it with the vector sequencer later on as well. But let's get the basics set up first. Make sure we're on part 1. Keyboard mode. Oh, whoops. There we go. Okay, good. Other than, I don't think I want reverb on this yet. Messing with the filter for a minute. And I'm going to turn up the octaves because I want a higher sound. Oh, right. I should patch pitch. That would help. Hopefully this thing is in tune. I haven't touched it, so. Sounds good enough for now, anyway. Let's apply the same. Let's apply the same envelope to the cutoff frequency of the filter too. Ooh, it won't fit. Okay. Longer cable. Try a couple different filters. I don't think we're going to be able to use quite. Alright, so we're going to still want this for the VCA, but I think we're going to have to use a different envelope to generate what I want, which is more of a plucky sound. There actually is a low pass gate here too, isn't there? What might be the better option here, if I can remember which one it is. And how you trigger it. I think it's like a gate you send into the cutoff or something like that. Alright, hang on. I gotta remember which thing this is. Just a minute. Okay, so the LPG is I'm on the run filter. This is the low pass gate. Ping cutoff CV and adjust the decay. Okay. Of course, I have to ping it from both locations. All right, let's take this out of TetraPad. That was kind of silly. And then we need to mult out the gate from vector. Right, so resonance controls decay. What about the resonant version? No, we definitely want the non-resonant version. Okay. At minimum decay. Okay, that's the start. Let's put a easy sequence into this first, because this is sort of what I wanted to start things with. I also am going to need to, as I recall now, take this, take the VCA out and put it through another VCA, because I want to be able to use velocity to affect volume. So you have to come out of that here, and the CV is going to be controlled by the velocity from track 1. Yeah. So if we just make a quick patch here. So we'll do, just to test that velocity is working, we'll do a couple of gates. Both of them G5, because that's really what I want to play. And then, so the velocity of the first one can be 100%, and the velocity of the second one can be lower. And let's just make sure that this works in the way I think it will. Right, I also need to set the gate length to be longer. Yeah, there we go. So we've got some change in volume based on velocity. I could have done that too with the like by having a voltage that's added to the output of the stages, but I don't think that works necessarily as well, because if it adds at the wrong time, it influences the envelope in weird ways. I think it's better to take post envelope, adjust that sound with another VCA, especially if you have the VCAs to do it, which I do for now. Alright, let me just adjust the BPM of this all a little bit. Or possibly the rate. Okay, and I want to see if I can get the pattern of this sound that I was having. It's by a band called Explosions in the Sky. They have a song where they have an intro that's just a guitar playing one note, but then they start like not tremolo, whatever that, like alternate picking on the guitar, and it makes a very interesting sort of textured drone. So I want to see if we can do sort of the same thing here. It requires like, because it goes like, so that's, I don't know how we're going to sequence that, but let's just see. It's like steps 2, 3, and 4 here. I think they need to be ratcheted maybe. Let's try. Yeah, that was the right idea. Get the right pitch. It needs some it needs some like humanization. It's way too quantized. I think that's groove. Yeah, not bad. Okay, let's. Pitches right again. The groove actually maybe sounds a little off now. Just gonna set the groove back to default. Sort of the idea. It's not quite the same sound. I don't know that it will be good in a triple ratchet, but yeah, no. Also need to set the velocity rate. Because basically it's each main note starts out high in velocity, and then the subsequent notes are lower velocity. So that's the idea. Now let's tweak the sound a bit more. set up in here right now. Nothing's modulating anything. Okay. Let's mix a couple of sounds. Or maybe we'll just have it cross-modulate here a bit. Okay, so leave the outer ones what we want to do. Yeah. Sine wave on that side. Let's see if we can get anything good out of this. Let's do a different modulation. Let's do the one on this side. And let's make some wild does. Weird. We might not get exactly the sound I'm looking for out of the wave folder here. It can be a little harsh. Messing around with FM now. Usually not a successful thing, but it's not bad actually. Okay, I'm reasonably happy with that. Not exactly what I wanted, but we'll see where that goes. Now, let's try giving this some oxen into the Milky Way. Do I have enough cable length to get this? Right, okay. So, for the first time, like in any stream ever, we're gonna disconnect the 2HP verb. I know, it's crazy. So we're gonna go out on aux 1 into endorphins, but then instead of going return on the aux channel, we're gonna come back out of endorphins in stereo into the mix-in, which is essentially like a unity mixed channel. So that now comes in to the mix-in. All right, and let's get an effect going here. I think I want some kind of delay, most likely. Well, let's try some reverbs first. I think I did really like the plate reverb when we were going through it, so see that here. We're going to want mixed at 100% with this always. Okay, so mix is at 100%. We're coming out there. Let's turn on some aux send. Volume's all the way up. And also, it's going to do. That's the pre-fader send, so we'll make this. Maybe it was the. I don't remember which one it was. Shimmer's a little too crazy. There's just a stereo room reverb? Nope. What's the secondary and plate reverb? Let's see. It's pre-delay. Okay. Interesting. It needs a lot more gain. It's got some weird buzz in there that I didn't hear before. Oh, look at that. Isn't it handy to have a built-in, constantly running high-pass filter to cut that out? I like that. Okay. You know, it's actually funny. I realized right now I should really just use this VCA because there's a VCA built into the filter. Then we can just come directly yeah, it comes through that VCA. We can VCA post filter, that's probably fine, and then this can just come straight out. Oh wait, no, this is the input. This should be coming into the input. Yeah. Alright, that's still basically the same thing, and I saved a cable. Yay. Okay. So I wasn't really a big fan of that as reverb. Let's just try the ping pong delay. So we're full wet. Maybe not. Alright, maybe sure. Secondary is pitch shifter mixed into the reverb, so we'll try that. It's interesting, it seems to require so much more gain. Wow, sure makes the spring reverb ring out. That's chorus. Let's check the other bank, just see. Oof. Okay, there's going to be one in there that blows your eardrums out. That's good to know. I think it's probably distortion or overdrive. Actually, this side is not going to have anything that's particularly good as uses an aux send. It's interesting that it kind of, the original sound gets lost in the reverb when it comes in through this mix. Trying to see if changing the octaves makes any difference. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about effects yet. It's not really gelling in the way that I'd like it to in that respect, so let's maybe do some work on the parts, because I want to be able to switch between parts in here in the vector sequencer, play it more like a song, and then transition to other parts. So we're gonna have to see how that works. But so let's see, not to other parts, I meant to other presets. So we're already in preset what, 02. So I think I'm gonna have to copy the first or the preset we were in here. So shift select to copy. Copy part 1. E02. Okay. I guess it's because they get renamed. You can rename the presets. So this first preset, I want it to start with not having those additional gates. Okay, and then we should be able to I think I might I think between part presets I can change the rate. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's not that ratchet. That ratchet sound doesn't sound right because it's actually triplets. Just think. Yeah, I think it is. So we'll try 8-note triplets and just see. I mean, those ratchets are too fast now, but maybe quarter note triplets. Like we need something in between the two, or I need to change the velocity. Hey Mac Joe, thanks for stopping by. How's it going? Oh, it's going alright. I'm just starting on another song here and trying to duplicate a sound I heard on a more acoustic instrument. Not really getting quite anywhere yet, but it's moving. Okay, so if I take this and slow down the tempo, maybe we'll get what I want. It's actually closer. Guitar. There's a band called Explosions in the Sky that have this song that starts out with just a guitar and then playing one note and then sort of strumming it. I don't know. And it ends up making this cool sort of textured drone. So this is the beginnings of sort of what I'm trying to do with this. But I think this is closer to the pattern, so make sure that both of these run at 8-note triplets, so that makes sense to switch between them. Yep, okay, that's good. Yeah, hopefully it will turn out good. And I put a little water sample in the background. I don't know if I'm going to continue using it, but I wanted to have something to sort of play this around, so we'll see. I've not set up any of the integration with the computer yet, so you can control it, but we will do that in a bit here, I think. We're getting closer towards that making sense. I'm just going to save a cable here. So I can keep a longer cable. Okay. This is sort of the idea. Now, I think that the whole thing is not in C major. I believe it's in G minor, I think. Might be major though. Look at that transposed it. Why did that transpose? Oh. Yeah, G5, thanks. I think there's something I can do that will make this reset. Oh, that just scales the whole thing. Okay, we're going to have to change these one by one. Okay, let's start. So if I wanted to make this playable, I can use the keyboard in transpose mode. Will it transpose in key is the question. I don't think that's transposing key. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, good. It does transpose a key. That's good. So that's going to be something good for this, is to be able to play it transpose. Alright. The reverb is actually working a little better now. I think it was just the... You can't run it in fully damp mode like you can the 2HP verb. It just overwhelms everything. Okay. So I gotta change this one too. I might want this part to also, not this part, but this particular preset to also be nice if I could put delay, but just on this preset. Oh man, how would you go about doing that? Because you can't change presets externally on the vector sequencer. You have to change it in the vector sequencer. We have pitch, gate, and velocity out for this particular output. For this particular part. We can't repatch things yet, but I am waiting for a dynamic repatcher module to be in stock, because then that's what I could do here, is actually set up. I could have the pitch, gate, and velocity going out, and right now they in the other part with the little strummy notes, it could go out to all the places it's going right now. But in this case, we'd repatch it to send the velocity to like a delay send or a delay mix or something like that. Now, is there some way I can duplicate that right now? Need like patch routing essentially. Can I do that with the planar? Let's just try something. That's not long enough. Just curious if I can use the planar for what I'm trying to accomplish here. Maybe. So now we're also sending the velocity into A. So we can now mix between into A. We can get a mix of all of the outputs that will include, but that will include the voltages that are generated by default by B, C, and D. But we can also fade A in and out. So I suppose I could kind of get used. It's sort of a crappy way of doing it, but like, Need a really long cable for this. Come out of A into, we'll say mod A here, and make sure that we set up mod A to be equal to the delay wet dry. Okay, so, and then you would come out of here. We'll just try it in mono for now, just to validate this idea. Okay, I think since it's adding to the modulation. You love joysticks and faders and knobs and yeah. I think that's half the reason I got into Eurorack is because as a kid that was my favorite thing, is stuff with buttons and knobs and things to turn and tactile stuff. So yeah, it's totally true. Okay, so I should be able to. Why is this not? Oh right, because the actually, you know, could just work better as a fader. Yeah. Still not working, but I think it would work better that way. Because then what I'd do when I finally get my TET, which, by the way, contacted the people I ordered it from, they're apparently expecting their shipment sometime in early February. So, you know, only a 2+ month delay to ship something that's a 12-hour drive from me. Like, I should have just driven there, bought one, and driven back. I'm thinking of making a MIDI controller with Arduino to have knobs and faders and VCV because mouse drives you nuts. Yeah, if I was in your position using VCV, I would have done exactly the same. Either put one together or bought one. There are a lot, by the way, of MIDI, like generic MIDI control pads out there that you can map to whatever you want. What's the one that I've seen a lot of recently? I think it's called like the MIDI Fighter or something like that. Let me see. Yeah. The MIDI Fighter. It's got like all these controllers with like a bunch of different buttons on them or a bunch of different fader knobs on them and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Oh, they have a 64 button one now. God, how do you even remember half of those buttons? It's true. Cheaper DIY. Yeah, it's true. Just more time. Depends on which you value more, I guess. $250. Wow. Okay, that's more than I would have expected. Your chord monologue works well with VCV, but only 15 knobs or so. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, from what I saw putting together this bot, it's not too difficult to do MIDI control, at least software-wise. I don't know about the hardware side of things because I'm not really a hardware guy, but... Okay, so now why is this not working? Mod A is delay wet dry. Why is this not modulating when I want it to? Mod A, delay wet dry. Mod A is turned all the way up. It's also turned all the way up here. Sending voltage to it. If I don't send voltage. Why is this not influencing the wet dry? Kai MIDI mixes, 24 knobs and 9 faders for $100. You can have 200 faders and knobs for that price. Wow. Yeah. Guess that would take a long time to solder though, eh? Sorry. Just trying to figure out why in the world is this not working. Is there an overall wet dry that I need to be doing or something? So that is detuning properly, so like is the mod input working? Yeah, the mod input's working. It's just that the destination is like I'm missing an input for. No, there's triggers, clocks, volt per octave, feedback, pitch shift, tone, and the mod things. You need an analog multiplexer shift though, because Arduino only has 6 or 8 analog inputs. You've already lost me from perspective of hardware, hardware stuff. I can guess what that does, but. What in the world? We're gonna try this again. Okay, here. It's like I can't put enough voltage into this thing to make it actually control the delay wet dry. I don't understand. To allow you to have more inputs coming in, I guess you mean? Sorry. So confused. I feel like I've like broken my rainmaker or something here. Need something that's more obvious that I can control here. I'll tap pitch, I guess, yeah. Oh, helps if I control it from the right thing, you know? Okay, so it's not that the input is broken. Leave it that. It's how a regular computer keyboard works. They don't have one wire per key, they have one wire per row and one by column. Oh, I see, and they get multiplexed. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Well, I learned something today. Alright. So, let's try this again. Let's pick another preset just so that we get something that might be a little more obvious here. Okay, change this again. Let it dry. This is so bizarre. I can influence every other parameter. There seems to be no way to influence the wet dry. Maybe it's to do with the routing. Maybe it needs to be set up to route with left delay and mono left. Yes, thank you. I saw that earlier on. But now I'm still having the problem that I still can't seem to actually control it. Even using the mod A fader, or knob rather, is not actually influencing the wet dry, which is puzzling to say the least. Hello. Thanks for dropping by. Just trying to figure out my Rainmaker here. It's giving me troubles. We had the beginnings of a patch going, but now it's not doing what I want. Maybe it's actually... Oh, it's affecting this wet dry. Which is not... So if I... Yeah, that's what I have to do. Alright, I have to put the mix of the whole Rainmaker fully wet. And then we can mix in the delay. That's annoying that there's no way to control the mix of the entire Rainmaker. Okay, well, alright. Okay, so I can control that now. That's good. I have not set up the modular bot yet because there's nothing really for it to control in this patch, but I will. As soon as I can get this sort of thing working the way I wanted it to. Just gonna get a better preset here, and I want the volume of these taps to be much lower. So we need this to be 50-50 dry wet. Let's reload that preset. Why aren't we... Oh, I reloaded the preset. Whoops. Right, so I'm going to change this back to delay wet dry. Okay, this is a start. I do need a bit different of a... preset, though. I want one that's more of a subtle... delay here. These are probably going to sound terrible. Yep. All right, we're going to have to go back to just really, really simple, like one tap. As long as we don't turn it up too high, it should be okay. So we'll use delay wet dry again. Okay, so in this part, like if I had the TET, we'd have this saved, but in this part, we'd have a little tiny bit of delay. Then we would want to shift to the next part. I don't know if that... It doesn't sound bad with the delay on it either. How about this? Give me 1 second. I'll let you guys control the amount of delay. Let me just set that up. Okay, set up on one end, so you can do modular help now. It's just not connected into this system, so we'll do that too. So we'll set up. Okay, so channel 1. Long cable. Channel 1 should now be controlling delay. Do with it as you see fit. It's going to listen to this on its own for a minute and see. It might work on its own. All the delay. Actually sounds pretty good with that delay. And it's nice going from this to... Alright, let's get another round of this going. Let's make... I typically make not very droney bass lines, but let's try something else just for a change. Let's make an actual like patterned, more interesting bass line with plats maybe. So we'll do it on the second part, or second part. So we got pitch. We got trig. That already sounds like a pretty good bass. Whatever I had just said in. Interesting. Let's just see. Let's just play it for a minute. Interesting bass anyway. Let's try making something that's like relatively sequenced with it, and we'll see where this takes us. So hopefully we're already in. I need to reset this back to our main scale. Yeah. Let's generate a patch or generate something. Let's see what it does. What the heck did it generate? A whole lot of ties. That wasn't really helpful. It does not work with the acid slidey bass line, that's for sure. Alright, we're gonna make this faster. That's a cool bass line, but it doesn't work with this at all. Let's, instead of acid, let's do the Berlin school ones. So this should actually probably not run fully on 16ths because the other track's running on triplets, so... Let's reset itself. This is making some crazy bass lines. Use Berlin 1. I don't want the slides. That's not bad. Yeah, I like that. Start with. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to either use a different sample or not use a sample. It's not really heading that direction for me personally. Okay. Let's use the velocity of this on something. I don't know what, but since it generates velocity, we might as well use it. Harmonics. Little too. Alright, so I want to give it some more delay. I want to hear it with some more delay on that other thing. Sort of like where this is going. It's different. Yeah, sorry, I can't do floating point values yet. This is very, very alpha bot. It's weird, it's getting some like feedback effect to it almost now too. I'm definitely not turning on the comb filter, but that was interesting. Yeah, for sure. Trying to make this a little more interactive for everyone, so that, especially if you haven't played with one of these modules before, you can at least try out one parameter and see what it sounds like. It's as close as you can get to turning the knob. This is not turning out particularly ambient, but it is cool. Just playing around with the scenes, because this is something I need to learn more on this vector sequencer. Ah, yeah, you're totally welcome. It is a great sequencer. I'm realizing that it has its limitations, but I think it's more just features that need to be added. Like, I don't know, I personally really wish you could use the mod 1 and mod 2 inputs to transpose a track. That would be great, but you cannot. You're gonna get the ER101, but this is a little more visual. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it depends on what you're going for, right? I think the ER101 is much more heavily focused on like straight up sequencing when you know what you want to put in, versus Vector has a lot of generative stuff, I think, so. Alright, this needs something now. I'm just trying to think of where I would go from here. Let's add another sequence, just to see. We'll do it with rings. Cables that are not organized properly. Here we go. So, pitch. That barely fits. Okay, and oops, this is still panned for stereo. Obviously not that. Let's clear this part out here. Do some playing around and see if we can find something that sounds interesting. this might be a good place to use one of the little vector sequencer tricks, which is we'll have it generate something. Let me just stop everything before this gets buggy. If you don't stop everything before you do this, it tends to not work. So we're going to change the sequencing to be rate controlled by T1. And then we will take we'll take channel 2 out of the Pam's new workout, and we will set it to a gate that has our skip value. Oops, not E step. Random skip value that's quite high. And we'll take that output and send it into T1. So now we'll have a sequence that's running in here on part 3, but it's actually clocked. The clock is advanced by Pam's new workout at random but in time times, if that makes sense. So let's sort of see what this sounds like, see if it's working first. We need to generate a track. Will it have reset everything? Nope. Okay, good. So why are you not coming through? See the triggers, it's going into T1. What's going on here? Sometimes I find this mode a little bit buggy, like I said. Let's reset it back into this mode. Aren't you picking up T1? Oh, maybe I didn't. Right, there's one other thing you have to do. Is to go in and set the trig 1. Yeah, here we go. Trigger 1 needs to be set to ext. There we go. Now it's trigger 1 as an input rather than an output. Control by T1. Are you gonna work? No, you're still not gonna work. You have two nerd seeks, but thinking to replace one with a vector. Still not sure about the expander. I would not get the vector without the expander, to be honest, if that's what you mean, or do you mean the nerd seekers or just expanders? Figure out what the heck's happening here. Turn trigger 4 off, let's see. Use one of the MIDI outs and use one of the other smaller HP MIDI to CV. Yeah, it's like one of the vector's MIDI outs to control a MIDI device, you mean? And then like from your computer into a smaller HP MIDI to CV style thing. Still don't get it. Trigger 1. Going in, this is a gate, right? This is a gate. On part 3. I should do that, right? That sounds good. I don't think I've ever heard of the MIDI. It's a great name. 2 channels of gate velocity and pitch. Yeah. If you have 1U rows, consider there's also 1U ornament and crime now too. That's what I plan to replace this with eventually and move it up here instead. Then I won't have to have this crappy USB cable here for your guys to control things. I could just put it into the case. What is going on with this thing? Why are you not? This is so bizarre. I've sometimes had it get out of sync, but I've never had it be this problematic in terms of using this method of sequencing. Something about this page, it has like a weird scrolling action when you're looking at EXT that doesn't like choose it properly sometimes. Anyway, okay, so now we're gonna pitch that down. We're gonna pitch that way down. It worked pretty well with that, actually. Let's give you all more things to control, because I like to do that with rings. So your channel 2 can be that rings. Let's do position. And your channel 3 can be rings shape. So feel free to mess with modular 2 and 3, and we'll change the sound of that rings. Make sure I've given you actual some yeah, there's some attenuation on it, but it should, yeah. Oh, actually, sorry. One other thing I have to set up, because if I don't do this right, it won't work. One sec. Now it should actually work. Sorry about that. I gotta get that saved in there. So if you try updating it again now, it should start actually sending these. Hopefully. You would think. still alpha, like I said. Right now I see the values coming through. Now it's making a difference. I don't know if this really works at all, but you know, it's something. This works better. What if I start transposing? I think my CSL might have fallen a little out of tune. Offset one of your values a little bit here. And transpose it instead of notes. Lower and lower range. Oh, I can't do any of those things. Okay, when it's mod, I can't change anything. Got it. I guess I could run this through as something that. Yeah, we're gonna attenuate the delay a little bit to let me influence it too. God, rings sounds so good. Give this some more taps in Rainmaker and just see. Needs a filter. That's not the comb filter, that is. So 2 is assigned to the position control on rings, which is what you hear here. And 3 is assigned to the shape control on rings. While I repatch this, I'll just leave it that way, then you can play around with it and see what it sounds like. I'm gonna take this into QBass. I like to do this smile pass, band pass combo thing. It always seems to be interesting. For now, we'll go into 8. Make sure this is in, yep. Making a decent little drone. Wanted to actually use these inputs on QPass, the little exclamation points. They're usually much too harsh. Actually not bad now. Okay, I'm gonna do a little trick here. It's sort of a, can't believe I'm using all this just for making little pew pew sounds, but you know. Let's do, we're gonna take the baseline gate. Oops. Mult it out. Also send it to Shifty. So that sort of in time, but not on every note, we can send a gate to that little pew pew. Needs to be a little more frequent. Don't really want it random either. and let's get some LFOs going here. So I'll tell you what, we will do an LFO that'll go into rotate left and rotate right, and we'll let you influence how much of the LFO is going in. So we'll go LFO. It's not going to be long enough. We're going to go LFO to VCA, and then VCA malted. VCA malted into or actually not malted because we want to invert it. Oh yeah, malted. So malted because we can invert it with the attenuverters. I think I've done this trick before. Into there and into there. And then the CV value. Set this up before I hook it up again. Mod channel 4. Alright, so your channel 4 can now influence how much of the LFO we are sending into the radiate controls. That for this sound that's quite filtered. It's going to be pretty subtle as I turn this up. Pan some of these taps around too. See you later. Thanks for dropping by. Interesting, this clarinet feedback filter is if you didn't catch, by the way, Mac Joe, channel 1 is influencing the amount of delay right now on what's sort of that comb filtery sounding thing. Channel 2 is the position on rings. Channel 3 is the shape on rings. Channel 4 is the amount of LFO going into the radiate controls on QPath. I like it better without the little pew pew sounds, actually. It's starting to work a little better with that sample. I think that I'm gonna put the 2HP verb back into the mix here. It really does work astoundingly well on sends for some reason. So that I can send some other things to it. Let's try 7. It's starting to sound nice. Not that. To look in the Vector Signatures manual again. I thought that there was a way of doing an evolve and then going back to what you had before, and I can't remember what it is now, because that would be handy with this. Hey Technobear, cool, yeah. It's been a lot of patchy caples. There's a bunch of stuff, if you haven't seen before, that you can control now too if you want. Modular 1 is controlling the delay, which is sort of making some of the feedback sound in the background. Modular 2 is ring's position. Modular 3 is ring shape. Modular 4 is the amount of LFO going into the QPass radiate controls. So feel free to mess around with it and see what other sounds we can make. Messing around with transposing the sound that's going in through the comb filtery craziness and seeing if I can find anything interesting, but It's a little out of tune, so this is about the best I can get. Put some chance hops into that bass part just to make it a little more variable here. Really already had one, which is interesting. I don't remember adding that, but okay. Let's give it a random chance to just pitch up. It'll always pitch up and still stay in tune. Let's make sure it works first. Alright, so say a 50-50 chance. We've already got one that's muted. Let's give something else another chance to skip, sure. That adds a little bit more variation to it, so I like that. Alright, I'm going to change up that radiate control thing we were using. You can still control it in a minute here, but I would like it to... Oh, wait. Wrong one. So this still needs to go into the VCA because it's the main LFO out, but your CV value I'm going to send through another set of attenuators, because I want to be able to offset the voltage a little myself. So I can hear what it sounds like. Just 1 minute so I can hear it. Whoa. It's kind of cool with the resonance up, actually. This is a much slower LFO. Let's see. Too slow. It's actually pretty cool, I think. It's not too spacey, it's just subtly shifty. So yeah, you can still control that, but I added a bit of offset. That's on, again, on modular... Modular 4. Makes any difference about what preset we're on here. So we made a couple of different presets, and I think the one I'm on right now, yeah, has more sparse notes. So if we add more notes to it, I don't know if that makes a difference at all, to be honest. Weird, they appear to have gotten like transposed differently. It's G5, yeah. Weird. Oh. Interesting. I didn't realize that transposing with the keyboard actually does set the transpose value on the track. Okay. So now... there is a subtle difference. The chat has autocorrect. And yes, this is QPass. A lot of what you're hearing here is QPass. It's actually the CSL's wave folder going through VCA, going through the Squawk Dirty in low pass gate mode, going into Rainmaker in my own set of taps with the comb turned on, the clarinet mode, and then going into QPass on low pass on both sides being radiated. It's pretty crazy, actually. And this all started from trying to make a sound that sounded a little bit like this, not This Will Destroy You, Explosions in the Sky. Anyway. Shifting it up in tune either, unfortunately, so I thought it was supposed to. Chance to ratchet? Oh, I think that sounded bad. Yeah. We're not gonna ratchet. Nope. Hi, Barbarossa. Thanks for subscribing. Or not subscribing, for following. Appreciate it. Velocity so we could give this a chance to be more accentuated. Velocity for the bass line right now is going into the timbre of the flats. So. I know that feeling, Barbara. There's a lot of... It took me a very long time to find the people who actually do Eurorack on Twitch, but there are a few of us. Check out Nightworks' channel, Nitewurx. He not only does some modular stuff, he has a lot of linked people who do modular stuff on there. Not all of them do modular all the time like me, but... that's the place to look. Do you have Eurorack yourself too, or are you just interested? Recently added electrical stuff, and you have a studio but no channel on Twitch. Yeah, that's fair. I've had electron stuff multiple times and sold it multiple times. Over the years, I've gone through a lot of different things. I started off in like hardware, just like keyboard synths and stuff like that, but eventually I realized that Eurorack is like really the place for me because it's got knobs, it's got buttons, everything is tactile, and I like that. So I don't, other than this Eurorack stuff now and some pedals, that's it. That's all I have. Well, I mean, like I have a guitar and like a kalimba and other stuff that I can sample into here, but yeah, exactly. Way more natural. I mean, I work on a computer all day for actual work, so I don't have any interest in making music on my computer. Period. End of story. So this is much, much better. Are you gonna? Do you have any of that stuff that you have Eurorack? Are you gonna look at the Eurorack Behringer stuff, for instance, since it's coming out and so cheap? Yeah, there's lots of people doing VCV these days. Eurorack is, well, at least until Behringer started releasing all of their stuff, it was very expensive. Now it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, so all kinds. Cool. Very cool. What kind of music do you make? Cool. Well, if you want to influence this a bit, there's that modular command you can run. I have 4 things hooked up right now that you can actually control the voltages going into. So you can control a couple of... the first parameter I think I need to repatch. Don't worry about the first parameter. The second to control the sound of rings, which is that. And parameter 4 is controlling LFO amounts on this sound in the background. Feel free to mess around. Gene Knott, thanks for the follower. Which one? This? Yeah, the one right now, that's rings. Mutable instruments rings. It's this guy here. It's a miniature version of rings, but yeah. There's one in VCV Rack, I think, for rings if you haven't seen it, so. Yay, cables indeed. And I still have so many more that I haven't patched over here yet. I've done patches that have used all of them, but then I bought more cables and I haven't gotten back there yet. Yeah, are you gonna get the Eurorack version, I guess, then, or the pedal version of the Zoya? The pedal, yeah, cool. I was considering that because that's where I want to. I mean, once I fill up this rack, which I already have planned out, I don't want to buy any more racks, but pedals are a good place to expand. The Zoya looks interesting. The only problem is it looks sort of awkward to use without like sort of menu divey, but not really. Almost like the disk thing where you have to like look up what everything does is the impression that I got. So that was kind of, I don't know, a bit of a turn off for me because I like knobs. I don't like menus. But I see the appeal. Yeah, the H9 is simpler, but then the H9 also requires you have like an iPad or something like that hooked up to it, right? So that's something that's on my possibilities list, though, because I think I could control it from my iPhone, and then it wouldn't be so bad. We'll see. I'm getting a pretty good result out of it. That's cool. That's cool. I think most likely the next pedal that I will be getting is either like an Empress Reverb, or maybe Chase Bliss has a mood pedal that is really interesting sounding. That note, actually. Let's make rings a little more interesting. Let's put it through Lo-Fi Junkie. Man, that Q-Pass thing in the background sounds really good. Don't know whether I like this more or not. Yeah, for sure. It's always a trade-off of breadth versus depth, I think, right? Like if you get a multi-effects thing, they can have a lot of good effects, but you're not gonna like, I mean, for instance, the Milky Way that I have here. Lots of good effects, only a few parameters I can control on them, versus if I got something like the Empress Reverb, there's like 8 or 9 or 10 knobs on it or something like that for all sorts of different reverby weirdness and things like that, so. And similarly, but then you look at something like the H9 and you have all that control, but it's because it like shunts off all the control to your iPad or whatever, so. Thanks, Gene. Yeah, that's the The Lo-Fi Junkie's really good at giving it a little bit of warble and a very lo-fi sound. Yeah, it's a debate that I have too, Technobear, about effects in Eurorack versus how much outside. I've tried to pick my effects mostly to do for ones that I can't necessarily get the same level of outside. Like Rainmaker is a really good example of that. The Milky Way, it could go either way. To be honest, the Lo-Fi Junkie, I am very much considering replacing that with a pedal instead, because it's just a modular version of the pedal, and I don't think that mostly because I don't think that I have ever modulated any of these inputs on the Lo-Fi Junkie ever. So there's no real reason to have it in Eurorack other than portability, I guess. But for me, it's more about like I'd have to find something that'd be worth replacing that HP with, and I don't know what that would be yet. So, and then like 2HP Verb is just great because it's so damn tiny, right? Like I could have a same reverb in a pedal, but it would be big and hard to carry around. But 2HP in my rack, sure, I'll give that up anytime. But yeah, I think a lot of it does come down to how much, whether it's a unique effect you can't get otherwise, and how much you plan on actually modulating it. I've been really curious lately about that new R-bar granular thing, because I'm finding myself using clouds less and less these days, and I don't know. It could actually be interesting to drop Microburst and Lo-Fi Junkie, get a Lo-Fi Junkie pedal, and put an R-bar in its place. Instruo's new module, that'd be cool. Oh, like, do you mean Bow Beats on YouTube, Barbarossa? I don't think I've seen Jay Hosking, so I'll have to look for that. Yeah. Bow Beats does some really cool stuff. He's a funny guy. I would like to meet him in real life. Yeah, I'll have a look at Jay Hosking. Add it to my never-ending list of people I need to check out. By the way, someone was asking me about this the other day. I actually found there is a place in my town that is doing a ambient show in February, which is like the first one I've ever seen. So I'm going to go to it and see if this is like a thing that they are going to continuously do, and then see if maybe I can convince them to let me play. We'll see. I have so much work to do if that's the case, but like that would be really cool. Okay, well, it's reached about the time where I need to unfortunately get going, but this was good. We made an interesting patch, a few different interesting techniques involved in it. I definitely want to keep this QPass thing around. Not QPass itself. Yeah, I'm keeping QPass, but this sound is really interesting. I'm in Canada. Central Canada. But yeah, it was good having everyone to chat with. And we made some interesting changes with the control voltages, so I like that. Yeah, because I say a boot, right? I do not. I say a lot. I get in quote trouble for that. Alright, unfortunately I don't think there's anyone else around to raid, so I will just leave you with sounds that we created today. So thanks everybody, and we will see you all on Monday when my next stream is. Monday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks everybody.